Now, with a complete recap of the game and your phone calls, live from the Pirate Radio studios, here's your host of the U.S. Cellular Fifth Quarter, Clip Brock.
The Pack are going to survive. NC State going to beat East Carolina tonight 24-17 to kick off the 2025 football season. And, man, Pirates got down 17-0. Looked like it was going to be a blowout. Stuck in it, but their game will end inside the red zone, and NC State will walk out a winner. Holton Ahlers, your quick thoughts on the Pirates' loss?
Yeah, great game. We can get deeper into it, but literally came down to the final play, and, just didn't make it happen. But we were down 17-0 to start the game. Let's just say that in the first 10 minutes. So it ended up being a great game, and just didn't make the play at the end of the game.
Caden Norman, close, but no cigar.
Close but no cigar. Tough loss. Love the tenacity at the end by the team. But early offensive inconsistencies are going to cost you the game on the road every time.
We're taking your calls. 317-1250, U.S. Sailor Fifth Quarter call-in show. We're back after this. NC State going to beat East Carolina tonight 24-17 to kick off the 2025 football season. Stuck in it, but their game will end inside the red zone, and NC State will walk out a winner.
Love the tenacity at the end by the team. But early offensive inconsistencies are going to cost you the game on the road every time.
You know what the best feeling in the world is when NC State knows what it's like to have a bad kicker.
That was tough. Yeah. We almost had a complete reversal.
That made me feel great, Clip. I'm not going to lie. You got to throw the ball down the field. I mean, I think that's where you have an experienced quarterback. You have experienced receivers who are deep ball guys. They're not hitch guys. They're not short game guys. They're deep ball guys. Like, you got to get the ball to them, get them in rhythm. And yeah, I think we focus too much on getting them in rhythm of just getting them catches. Like, let's get them meaningful catches, deep ball catches, and I just think we didn't do it till too late.
Yeah, okay, I got you. But they didn't score. I know he planned on it, but
they did not score it, but he planned on scoring.
All right,
mindset, I would say.
Positive mindset. I got you.
And what I don't understand though is that last drive. Why are we running the ball up the middle? We are one-dimensional, and there's no hiding it. I don't know why we're trying to run the ball. I don't know why we're not continuing to throw the slants or the downfield ball or the things that are getting us down there, and we want to hand the ball off, and it just
I mean, the field does tighten, but I would have liked to see some other
and I will
stuff.
say him running the clock down, we were going to go for 2 if we scored there. He wasn't going to take that. Like, us running the clock down to the final play was pretty much saying, like, we are going to go for 2 and we're going to make, like, we're not taking this to overtime. Yeah. If he wanted to score and he was just going to kick the field goal, they would have scored when they could have. Okay, and I think that's my opinion on it. And another thing, we kind of just, like, someone said it on YouTube a second ago, like, we kind of stopped our own momentum there. Like, the momentum was all ours, and then we just kind of took it away from ourselves. We just slowed down and stopped. So
right, we slowed down. So we started to look at the sideline instead of already having a play called. And, I don't really get what that was all about. And who is this guy Spalding? Have I missed him?
Nah, he's been around a couple years, and I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to hear anything else about him because he hasn't done anything. Everybody says he's great at practice. Well, tonight he showed up, so
he's a ball.
I will talk about him. But as we were saying, Holton, the Gun Club boys did good tonight.
They did. I'm glad they were unsuspended. I tell you what, Scott, I don't know if you've read the news lately, but Brock's been headlines, but he'll be headlines again. He's really, really good. I mean, he's been balling, and I remember when he got recruited. So he came in when I was there, and people were saying that he was going to be the next Snead, and he sure looked like it tonight.
The other thing is, there were a lot of plays that they called for you to run the ball. I didn't see a lot of that for Caden, and I think they could have done that a whole lot more. He seems to be reliable carrying the ball and has decent speed and some moves. And I just think earlier on in the game, they should have used his legs a little more because a lot of times the middle of the field was open. And, I just think they could have done a lot more with him carrying the ball and let him run.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, and even the beginning of the game, shoot, I would have liked to see him there at the end, maybe go empty and give him we call it stick draw, where you pretty much have hitches and slants on both sides. Can you know what I'm talking about? Just quick game on the outside on that 4th and 1. And then if that's not there, let him run a draw. So pretty much you would go empty, which is no running back in the backfield, 5 wide receivers, If there's 5 people in the box, which is 40 linemen, 1 linebacker, then Caton runs quarterback draw. If there's 6 men in the box, which means there's 40 linemen and 2 linebackers, he throws it because you have the numbers outside. That's like the easiest play in college football to get 1 or 2 yards.
Let's give some flowers to Josh Aldridge and the defensive unit to make adjustments after like the first drive. But at the same time, I also want to kind of be critical of JDB and his play calling ability down the stretch and throughout the whole game.
I think it just took him a little bit of getting rhythm. That's the first game of the year. It just happens that we have a rivalry game first game of the year. Usually you play a smaller school.
And I agree with that. But at the same time, it's something's not working, and you still go into the same well. With the running game's not working. Let's run through the air, what we do best.
Yeah, I love running through the air, and it could be Caden. What do you got?
Well, I agree. On that first drive, I thought it was about to be 2018 all over again. I thought we were about to get run out of there, and they made some great adjustments. And that defense, I think me and Holton talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. Defense was our biggest question mark, but man, they looked really solid tonight. I'm really excited about that defensive unit. JDB, it reminded me a lot of his last year, those first couple games last year.
The fake punt was great. I loved that. Hey, it's a rivalry game. It's one of the bigger opponents we're going to see this season. Let's be aggressive. Let's take some chances, right? We're in the game. We want to stay in the game. I was very much encouraged to see that, and I certainly hope some of that continues. And we don't see the guys get more conservative because they don't have anything to lose. Let's put it out there and be aggressive. And I love that mentality. Let's go for it when it's smart and it makes sense. But got to clean up the penalties. Got to clean up the penalties.
Vegas, they don't know what they're doing. We had them. We might have lost by 7, but we almost went down there. And like Holton said earlier, man, if we got that touchdown, we were going for the win. Blake Harrell, he did some risky plays. He did the fake punt. But you know what? Hey, it's the first game. It's against the Wolfpack, and it's a different team from last year. We might have beat them last year in the Military Bowl.
At one point in the first half, I looked up at the scoreboard, and State had 205 yards. We had -8. And I was thinking, oh, crap, we have regressed back to 2 years ago. And then I turned to the guy next to me, and I said, don't forget, last year it was 21-0 at North Texas, and we ended up coming back and winning that game. And today was almost just like that, because we looked totally out of sync at North Texas, and then we figured it out, and then we just said, this is Pirate football, and we're going to bring it to you. And if we had just had a different play call there, then Holton, if you're the offensive coordinator, you got 1 yard to go down there, and it's 29 seconds to go, what do you call?
Yeah, and the thing I was really encouraged about is the fact that Blake said if they'd have gotten that touchdown, they would have gone for 2. So that would have made for some great drama, but it didn't happen that way. The whole thing was the fact the Pirates just couldn't run the football. Negative 25 yards in the first half, that just set the tone. And then when you get the ball fourth and 1, down in the shadow of of the goalpost down there, and you got to be able to run the football and get that yard. But they didn't. They threw it, and they just didn't complete it, and the game was over.
And what were you thinking? 17-0. Were you like everybody else, Bailey, that this one's done for, or did you think they would figure it out?
I was more on the line of it was done for because
Yeah.
they just didn't show any signs of life at all. It just looked like, the offense, the whole time we were talking about, worried about the Pirate defense. We think the offense is going to put points on the board. The offense is explosive. The offense has looked so good in the preseason, and, none of that came to fruition. It really was a struggle in the game because that offense clicks when they run the football, and that sets up the passing game. I think they were really fortunate that State missed the field goals, and they did make some big plays in the second half. But Caden Hauser was obviously very disappointed after the game, and you could see it on his face. But he really thinks that the offense could play a lot better. I think we'll see a lot better effort against Campbell, but you only get one shot to beat State for the season, and Pirates couldn't come through. Yeah, I asked Caden if it was frustrating that they couldn't run the ball, and his answer surprised me. He said, well, some games you can't run the ball, so you have to throw it, and this was kind of one of those games. And I was surprised the way he said it. I guess they did figure it out in the second half, and they were pretty good offensively in the second half, but mainly through the air. And I did not realize how many yards that Caden had for the game. What was it, 366? Is that what he came up with, 366? That blew me away because I had no idea he threw for that many yards.
Usually when a team struggles to run the ball, they struggle to do anything.
Yeah.
But we were clicking in that passing game, and both of these former quarterbacks talked about it, and myself as well. I mean, he looked so comfortable, especially late in the game, Bailey. He looked cool. They went to that 2-minute timeout. He was kind of gesturing, and he wanted the ball and wanted the moment, and Pirates just couldn't get it done down the stretch. But again, I think a lot of callers have talked about it, a lot of optimism moving forward despite the loss.
Yeah, and the fourth down play, and maybe Holton can elaborate on it. I just didn't. I don't know if they didn't execute it right.
Who's your sleeper to make the college football playoff or Heisman sleeper this year?
How about my group of 5 team to make it? Okay. I'm going in the American, and hopefully it's ECU versus this team in the championship, so I'll be happy either way. But I'm going Memphis this year.
I think Memphis is really good, yeah.
I'm going Memphis.
Like that.
Atticus, former Pirate Radio intern, has interesting calls. Let's see what he has here. What's up, Atticus?
What's going on, Clip? I know I usually call in and have like a funny like call or a one line. I have a few questions to ask you and the guys. So first and foremost, did JDB think that it was still the Military Bowl? Did he still think that it was the Military Bowl? Because the way he was handing the rock off up the middle every single play. Like, what was the game plan there? I mean,
just run the ball through the air.
I brought it up earlier. It did feel like he thought they were going to run for 300 yards again, like they did in the Military Bowl.
Yes, it was, and like, okay, I get it, right? Like, hey, do what works. But good Lord, be able to pivot. I mean, good Lord, it didn't work, and he kept just running it and running it and running it. And I know the center had a couple of bad snaps, and that really screwed Caden. But, like, good Lord, Caden's awesome, and they took the ball out of our best players' hands. At the end of the day in sports, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, I don't care if it's field hockey, whatever, your best player put the ball in their hands and let them make a play. And JDB was taking the ball out of our best players' hands and not letting him make plays tonight. Like, what are we doing? Like, I hate to say it, man, but, like, the whole screen recording thing, the whole DM thing, it got to him, man. Like, the whole cheating thing, like, it definitely got to him, and it impacted the way he called the game this week. Like, he definitely was distracted. He definitely looked like a man whose marriage was crumbling in front of his eyes, and he was letting it get to him. Now, I have one more point to make. You guys can confer about that, but I have one more.
Well, I'll go ahead and say I disagree with that, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, he looks like a distracted play caller.
All right, what was your second point?
Here's the other point, man. After this, in the fourth quarter, me and all my buddies, we were watching the game from my living room. We went tarps off. We started going tarps off. I'm not superstitious, Clip, but as soon as we took our shirts off, the Pirates started doing good things. And I said, 3rd and 1, just QB sneak it up the middle with Caden Hauser. And they didn't do it, and they kept stubbing their toe. Buddy, let me tell you something. When I went tarps off, there was a spiritual experience going on, and had we QB snuck it up the middle, we'd be singing Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi right now, and I'd be screaming in your ear drunk right now. Instead, I'm crying in your ear drunk right now because I have not put my shirt on. My buddy, he came into town just to watch this game with me. His shirt is nowhere to be seen. He did not put it on. We are still tarps off. We may never go tarps on again in our life. We never go tarps on again in our life, dude. That we are hurt. We are beaten. We are bruised. We are upset. And honestly, let me say this: Holton, Caden Norman, if you don't go tarps off in solidarity with us right now, I'm questioning your piratehood.
Caden is unbuttoning his buttons. He's showing a little chest hair.
Atticus is.
If
had a rough night.
If ECU would have won, yeah, we go tarps off. But the Pirates didn't win, so clearly it didn't work.
Atticus, I got a promise for you.
Oh, he hung up on that. He didn't want to hear that. He didn't want to
I
hear
had
it.
a good one for him, too.
I've never heard tarps off either.
Tarps off. That's common.
Yeah.
I was going to tell him if we beat BYU, I'd tarp off with him. But
all right. Atticus may never throw that tarp back on again.